Is Spruce Grove a good place to live? This is the first question you're going to ask yourself no matter where you're thinking of moving. And no matter where you decide to live, there's always going to be positives and negatives. It's just a matter of what's important to you, what you can live with and what you can't. We've had thousands of people move to Alberta from out of province in the last few years, and if you think you might be one of them, listen up. In this video, I'm going to give you the straight facts about Spruce Grove, both what the locals here love as well as what they hate. I'm also going to film this entire video on location so you can see a little bit of the community for yourself. If you want to learn more about the city, go ahead and download my Spruce Grove community guide for free. You'll find the link below. Okay, let's get into it. Let's start with some of the complaints I hear about living in the Spruce Grove area. Speed traps. Well, I have personally ranted about the speed traps in Spruce Grove on a few of my videos now because they are definitely a pain. Every traffic light has a camera, so you have to make sure you're focused and you don't accidentally speed. The worst part of this is actually what's behind me right now. When you're heading in from Edmonton west into Spruce Grove on Highway 16A, the speed limit goes from 100 kilometers to 80 down to 60 in what feels like a blink of an eye. This past summer, there was a ton of road construction that started in April, and it made it very difficult to navigate, especially driving in the downtown area. This intersection at Calahoo Road and Cloud Drive behind me was particularly difficult to navigate. It caused a lot of disruption, especially for the businesses downtown on McLeod that were affected by the lack of through traffic. This phase of road construction is completed for the year, and while it was a pain in the butt at the time, it is for the greater good. These and future projects are just going to enhance the city's roadways, utilities, buildings, facilities, and parks. This work is set to continue over the next 4 years into 2027, and it's all part of the growing pains as our city expands to accommodate more residents. There is a lot of housing and construction going on here in Spruce Grove as well, which again can be a pain to deal with at the time, but it's only temporary and it's a vital part of the economic growth of our community. Some people like the sound of a train and other people do not. There are tracks that run the entire south side of the city, and it can be loud, especially for the people who live nearby. South of Spruce Grove is an industrial business area, and even further south are some beautiful acreage subdivisions. So if you live south of Spruce on an acreage or are trying to get to one of these businesses in the industrial area, like the main Canada Post Depot, it can be a pain to have to wait for the train to pass by. No nightlife. If you're single and you love the nightlife, I'm just gonna say it, Spruce Grove is not for you. We have some great restaurants, breweries, and pubs here, both in Spruce Grove and in our neighboring town, Stony Plain, but no nightclubs. For that kind of scene, it's best to live in Edmonton, but if you're more about the quiet family or retirement life, Spruce Grove could be just the community for you. Transportation can be a bit of a challenge as well. You definitely have to own a vehicle if you want to live comfortably in Spruce Grove. But that's true for most of Edmonton and the surrounding areas because of the nature of our urban sprawl. Spruce Grove has cab services as well as an on-demand bus service, which some residents do use. We do have Uber service, and I've seen it improve dramatically over time as well. Ubers are not going to be as easy to come by here in Spruce as they are in Edmonton, but I personally have seen a huge improvement lately. I had some car troubles recently, and I was able to get an Uber to my location during the day with a few minutes multiple times, so that's great. Spruce Grove is sandwiched on both the north and south sides by highways, so it's not just the train noise, but you have the traffic noise from both Highway 16 and 16A as well to contend with. It may get noisy during rush hour, but to play devil's advocate on this one, these two highways are exactly what make travel to Edmonton such a short commute. Speaking of commuting, It can get a bit dodgy in the wintertime, especially after the first snow when there's not a lot of gravel or traction on the roads yet. The commute can also be a bit tough when drive times coincide with sunrise and sunset, when commuters are driving directly into the sun. On the positive side, the city is currently building a transit center on the north side of town, which is why I'm standing in front of this dirt pile behind me. This is the location of the future transit center, and it'll serve as a central location for all commuter service into and out of the city. And the transit center is set to be open in 2024, so that new development will be awesome. Proximity to Edmonton. Here is one that rides the line by being both good and bad depending on who you talk to. Spruce Grove is located 11 kilometers west of Edmonton, so it's a very short commute. If you don't want to have to commute and you do want to be in the thick of the action close to downtown Edmonton and all it has to offer, you definitely won't be a fan of having to drive in there. If you don't mind driving a bit more of a ways to get to the action so that you can live in a larger house for less money, this community could be perfect for you. Stick around to hear more about the affordable housing that we offer in a bit. Convenience. While it may be inconvenient to drive into Edmonton sometimes, getting around while you're here in Spruce Grove is just really incredibly easy. That is when the roads aren't under construction. Depending on what roads you're on, it takes about 10 minutes to drive from the far west side of the city to the east. So if you're driving your kids to school, for instance, you'll be there in a few minutes. There are grocery stores everywhere, so it's quick to get to those as well. And when you get to them, the parking will be convenient and easy, and the store lineups will be short. We also have pretty much all of the amenities that you'll need as well, so that adds to the convenience of living here. Growth and development. Spruce Grove has been experiencing some steady growth as Alberta has had an influx of new residents pouring into our province. According to the most recent census, we now have 38,985 residents, and over the last 10 years, we've added about 11,000 new residents to our ranks. I was one of them, moving here from West Edmonton in 2014 after meeting my now husband and stepkids. With the population growth comes some amazing development as new neighborhoods form like Copperhaven, Fenwick, and Easton. We're also seeing major economic growth in the form of new businesses, restaurants, city improvements, and major developments coming to the city within the next couple years. One of the new developments coming is a civic center which will be located on the east side of town off of Highway 16. It will include a spectator arena, community arena, black box theater, art gallery, and library. The other one is the MyShack Metro Ballpark, located just off Highway 16A, and it's set to open next year. The ballpark will offer a microbrewery, an outdoor amphitheater, and a condo development. We also have that transit center coming to Spruce Grove in 2024, as I mentioned earlier, so that will be great to see as well. Quality of life. This one is huge. People live here because it's safe, family-friendly, with good schools, parks, and recreation. The entire center of the city is actually a huge forested park with walking trails, playgrounds, and even a dog park. It's called Heritage Grove Park. Many of our local neighborhoods back directly onto it, which is lovely. Part of the quality of life also comes from being able to have a nicer house for less money. Proximity to the Rockies. Edmonton is located next to some of the most breathtaking places in the world, being so close to the Rocky Mountains. Within a few hours' drive, you can take in absolutely incredible sights. Check out my video 48 Hours in Jasper to get a feel for how easy it is to do a quick getaway to the Rockies. Weekends in the mountains are a favorite pastime for Edmontonians all year round. The average single-family home is about $50,000 less than Edmonton here in Spruce Grove, coming in at $430,000 so far for this year, which is one of the main reasons why so many people choose to live here. This is also why we're seeing so many people moving here from out of province as well. They're getting an upgrade on the quality of their lives with a lower mortgage. Housing affordability with the convenience of small crowds and lineups, easy traffic, family-friendly amenities, and lots of disposable income. Edmonton and area residents have one of the highest disposable incomes in Canada without having to sacrifice on the amenities. The Greater Edmonton area is the last frontier in affordable housing and cost of living now that Calgary is booming and property values there are skyrocketing. So choosing Edmonton or any of our surrounding communities like Spruce Grove means choosing a higher bank account balance, lower stress, and as a result, more latitude to do the things that matter to you the most. If home ownership is on your bucket list, Spruce Grove could be a fantastic option for you. The bottom line is that there's always going to be some give and take. To get something, you're always going to have to give something else up. Every community in the world exists because it has something to offer. And Spruce Grove has some amazing benefits, but like all communities, there's going to be things that you're going to miss out on too because there is no perfect place to live. If you want more information about what it's like to live here in Spruce Grove, feel free to download my community guide as I mentioned at the top of this video. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment, send me an email, or give me a call. I'd love to chat with you about the possibilities waiting for you here in Spruce Grove.